Okay, I'm gonna make a base for one of these pepper mills. There's different ways to do this, of course, as there are many times. These pepper mills come like this. They come with 2 screws and some instructions. And Woodcraft carries them for about $12 usually. They run sales for $10. I get my craft supply. I order 5 or more. You can get them for around $9.50, something like that, plus shipping. But they run. You can get them for $10 plus shipping from. Oh, I'm sorry, I got these from Penn State, not Craft Supply. This is kind of what they look like from Craft Supply. They put a Wood River label on it, same thing. You can kind of see how they, can you see that? Can you see that on the box?
Toward the headstock. There you go.
Okay, that's kind of, they show what, that's about a 4-inch one on that. That's how they come. The instructions come with a weighted, and the way they have it, and the instructions is you use your drill press. Well, I'm not into using a drill press to drill deep holes, but the way they describe it is to drill out your block with an 1 3/4 inch Forstner bit, and then mark your 4 places where these little knobs will go, and then put it on there, and this will recess in there. I don't like that because I don't want to use a drill press. I'd rather use my lathe. And once you set that up that way, that's the only place you can put it. I mean, you have 4 choices on the piece of wood. So if the piece of wood doesn't look good the way you like it, you really don't have a choice. So, and I started surface mounting them. When I first made one, I just made them flat and mounted them on the surface. And I made a little jig to line up the holes, but it was still off a little bit. And I'm anal, and I didn't like the way it was set off a little bit. And I kept trying to make another jig, and I got tired of that. So this is the way I do it. Find the center. Block. Should I stay over here? You all know how to find the center of a block, right?
Closer to the headstock.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. However we all do it. Then, let's see, how fast are we going here? I'm wearing protective eyewear, but I don't usually use a shield. Like this is cherry. Any other projects, I usually use a face shield, but I turned almost 1,500 RPM. Let's see if this banjo holds up. So now we've got a cylinder. Going to put a tenon on the back of this, like I say on this cylinder. About an eighth, 3/16 inch deep is all you need.
Only halfway up there.
Mount this to the chuck. Isn't that special? Kind of do that to just line the piece up. It's going to get turned again. Jacob's chuck. Now you can drill this all the way through. It calls for a 1-inch hole. But I'm going to put an 1 1/8 hole here, about 3/4 inch deep. You could make it 1 1/8 all the way through if you want. That. Let's turn this down a little bit. Let's see what happens here. I've got it, pretty much got it marked right here. Smoking. I do that because I'm going to use this chuck here with these spigot, I guess they call them spigot jaws or whatever, these small ones, and when it fits in that, this is a little bit bigger than a 1-inch hole, so when you put that in there, it's kind of like a mortise. Holds it like a mortise. Now, I can pull a mel here. I've got one that's already drilled through. No. Unless you want to watch me drill this out. Okay, who's in favor of watching me drill this out? Good, let's go to this one. So this one, I finished drilling out with a 1-inch hole. You all know how to drill holes. There we go. Wrong. Take this off here now. This is the fun part on this.
Is there a lock on that thing?
Where's the lock on this? Okay, we'll change that chuck. And then this little, that fits on there. Line that back up. There's another way. I mean, you can make something like this, which is like a jam chuck. But I found it's not too, I don't find it that reliable. And if you have a steady rest, then that works good. And then you do the back at the last thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the back or the bottom first. Get off the chuck. I don't trust that. Before I forget, it's got some wobble to it.
What do you got on there?
Actually, I dropped this on another drill and bent it, but I found since it wobbles, it kind of sands the inside of that better.
Flexible hose.
I make it work. See if I can line this up a little bit.
The best tools are a mistake.
For some reason, get a little bit of rattle out of this thing.
Get a new lathe.
Yeah, get a new lathe.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll see how this holds. Now, actually, this is going to be the bottom here. And I'll take my negative rake scraper that Mel calls a skew. I like to put a little bit of a concave in the bottom. Now the fun part, talk amongst yourselves while I sand. It's got a little wobble to it, but it should be okay. And I'm going to take my spiraling tool. And I like to put a little spiral on the bottom of it, just kind of a accent. And I take my handy dandy tool I made for doing this. And just kind of accent it.
Was that like a parting tool or a point tool?
This was a 3/8, or no, I'm sorry, 1/2 inch scraper that I made into a,
Hold it over the wood.
oh, I'm sorry, I made it into a mini skew, I guess you'd call it. But I can do all, I can get into a little plate, and it's got a little bit of a curve to it, and I can do round offs and stuff like that, and make fine lines or heavy lines or whatever. But I use a big carbide, so I don't really need a 1/2 inch scraper. So it became this. Now, I did the wrong, oh shoot. I did the wrong end. Or did I? Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll make it work. Oh. Okay. Now, the bottom's done. That was supposed to be done first with the tenon and then turned around, just for clarification. Okay. Now, I should have left Jacob's chuck. Now this is where I do it a little bit differently than the instructions. I take a 2-inch Forstner bit, which is the diameter, that's the distance between these points here. So that's 2 inches. And I go in about it'll be burning now. I don't know if that's this doesn't, you don't have to worry about, ow! You don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about this because it won't even hardly be shown.
So you can use any kind of firewood?
Yeah, that's the one thing with, you can use a tree, if you got a 3-inch tree branch, I mean, you can make these out of anything, so. But, mine doesn't do this. I'm telling you, it doesn't do this.
How deep did you go?
Maybe 1/8 of an inch. However, you can go however deep or shallow, you know, however deep you want. And then take, cause some of these woods, harder woods or whatever, and see if how it fits. And they fit pretty good. Sometimes they're too tight, you gotta clean it out a little bit. But otherwise, it just pretty much sits in there pretty good. And that saves you from having to line up these holes or anything like that, and I don't, anyway, that's the way I do it. Now, put this back in. And you can make this as thin or as thick as you want. And now you just kind of start figuring out what you want it to look like. Got a little bit of a wobble there. So you just kind of start cutting into it, whatever shape you like, whatever you want. The only thing you got to remember is there's going to be some screws go in here. They only go in about that, maybe 1/4 of an inch, if that much, in the top here. So that's the only thing you got to. I actually did drill through once and have holes coming out. So you can actually have a shape, something like that. Oh, that's a bit crude, isn't it? Cherries kind of falling apart. Nasty looking wood. This is the texturing tool. I don't know how many of y'all have used these, but there's these Sorby tools come with this little brass, or bronze, I should say, bronze fitting there that this runs on. You keep it lubricated. But I really wore the hell out of this one. So Sorby won't sell you this. They'll sell you everything but the little bronze piece. How smart. Because when they wear out, I guess they want you to buy a new tool. So I went to the hardware store and I actually found some bronze bushing about that long with a hole in it. And I went ahead and took this out, put that bronze piece in there, and then I got a button screw. They use an Allen set with the same size threads on the other side, and put that through and cut it off with my Dremel, and then kind of flatten it and put that button screw in there, and now I have a new bushing.
What do you lube those with?
Huh?
What do you lube?
Silicone, light oil, anything, whatever, you know. But I tried and tried and tried to find these bronze bushings, and they sell everything, but there's always a way to get around it. So, just a little FYI on that. Let's see.
For example, these high-dollar carbide discs that y'all seen everybody using these days, McMaster's car has it. A lot cheaper.
The whole tool, or
No, just
that? Yeah, how much?
just the cutting edge. I can't remember, so I'm going to say
Yeah, they're
a
coming
lot
down.
cheaper than
Yeah.
a lot cheaper than $16 a piece.
I think you can, yeah, I think with our discount, we can get them for 16 here or something
Yeah.
like that.
AZ carbide, very good.
Who's that?
AZ carbide.
Same thing, okay.
Yeah.
Plus you can you can resharpen them also. So, of this, do a little texturing. little spiral on the base here.
About what RPM are you running at?
About 677 on this. And this is where my handy dandy little tool comes in. Let's see what we got here. Smoke it.
How do you turn that over?
Because the spiral and the way it cuts, this nut will come loose if it's going the wrong direction. So if I start turning it like that, the wheel turns that way, the nut comes undone. So that's why that's. Yeah, I got a chip there. If you don't like what you got, you can tear back into it, do it all over, change it till the wood runs out. Spot right down. Pretty good. And I like to take a little steel wool. and burnish it. Now this one I have to fix the hole, I mean, this one I had to re-drill it out, so it's still got some material in there. But that's pretty much, prepper mill will fit on there and you can set it anywhere on the piece of wood you want. That way. And what I did is I made these, the tricky part, it's a 5/64 bit. It's the only time I go to the drill press, is to make the pilot hole. And it doesn't take any more than that depth right there for the screws. I made me a couple little tools. Yeah. Here we go. Find out where I want it to sit on it. And then I made this little hook tool here for making a hole, marking the hole on both sides. And then I go ahead and make a little deeper, take it over the drill press, put the pilot holes in it. And then when you go to put them in, it takes a reel. They only give you these two little black screws. And that's about the size screwdriver you need, and it's at an angle. So there's nothing easy about putting it on. But I haven't had any of these strip on me yet, and you can get them pretty tight. Of course, that screwdriver is not going to give you a whole lot of torque, but you can get on there pretty tight. And so far, I haven't had any of them strip. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yay.